Thank you. Now, many of us will most likely have heard of postpartum depression, but did you know that it affects new dads as well as new mums?
Well, many of the resources and support groups are targeted at women, but 1 in 10 men will be diagnosed with the condition in the first year.
It's led to calls for clinical guidelines to be updated to make sure that men also get screened for the condition, as Catherine Walker reports.
So the lowest point was when I was in the car and fully intended on taking my own life. Oh, and what's this?
With new responsibilities and sleepless nights, becoming a father can be challenging. But for some men like Luke, it can also trigger mental health problems.
I did all of those things. I changed his nappy and all that and fed him. But I did keep him a little bit at arm's length because I was scared that something horrible would happen to him, and I ended up shouting at my older 2 children over the minorest of things, and you'd be sat in bed that night thinking, why did I do that? And I wouldn't put my finger on that it was because I was upset or because I was depressed.
The latest figures show that 1 in 10 dads will be diagnosed with postnatal depression in the year after their baby is born. But many of the resources used to diagnose and treat the condition, including clinical guidelines, are targeted at women. These dads at the Owl Tree Children's Cafe in Newcastle say it's time there was more support for new fathers.
I think it should be a little bit more flexible, and as a work rule, I think it should be both mums and dads should be able to say, I need more time off, I have a bit more flexi time.
Society-wise, it's still very much geared to, when it comes to young, like preschool children, it's very much mother-based. There doesn't really seem to be anything geared towards fathers, as it were.
So Dan, tell us about the outreach this morning.
Some help is available through the services of non-profits like Dad Matters. They work with parents and professionals across the country to raise awareness of postpartum depression in men. But manager Kieran says there's only so much they can do without a national strategy.
I think routine screening would really help us to understand more about the bigger picture for dads, and also the impact on their partners and their babies. I think one of the biggest issues is that dads feel like it's a woman-only issue, but we really do need to think more about having a whole approach across the country so that a dad who has a child under 2 can access the mental health support they need to be the dad that their baby needs.
My finger.
Oh.
Back home with his son, Luke is proof that the right diagnosis and treatment can help dads thrive. He now supports other men with postnatal depression and hopes eventually that all new parents will be screened for the condition. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Well, the Department for Health and Social Care has said people with mental health issues are not getting the support or care they deserve, which is why we will fix the broken system to ensure we give mental health the same attention and focus as physical health.
Well, to tell us more about some of the signs and the symptoms and support too that is out there for men with postnatal depression, earlier I spoke to Dr. Liva Martucci from the Royal College of Psychiatrists. Doctor, thank you for talking to us about this today. First of all, can I just start by asking perhaps what some of the symptoms of postnatal depression are in men?
Well, the symptoms of postnatal depression in men are in some ways similar to depression at other times, so that includes sadness, a loss of the ability to feel pleasure, problems with energy levels, fatigue, a sense of withdrawal, lack of motivation, changes to appetite and sleep, and it can become very severe to the point that people start thinking that life isn't worth living anymore, or even think about taking their own life when it's extreme in the perinatal period. So as a postpartum depression, something that's unique is that this can lead to a loss of connection in the relationship with a new baby, or even a loss of connection with their partner. So it's a situation where men might feel that they are not good enough as parents, as fathers, or sometimes even as partners.
Incredibly serious.
Very.
Are there some men who are more at risk, perhaps, would you say?
I think it's important to recognise that it can happen to any father, but there is some indication in the literature that first-time fathers have got a greater risk of this happening to them because it's a new experience. The most important thing is, if there is even a doubt that something is not right, is to not ignore it. So if you think that your mood has dropped and that you're not feeling well, seeking help is very important. It can be advice from the GP as a first port of call, so going to see your doctor.
Thank you very much indeed for talking to us and for some help with some practical advice there. Thank you.
My pleasure.